What up, what up, what up, good people? Welcome to a brand new edition of Whatever We Want with Jay and K. He is J. Jamal Sterling.
She is K. Kalala Elliott. What's
up? I'm starting this episode letting our audience know that I am dressed, ready to work out after this show, Jamal. For the benefit of our audience, Jamal has been my accountability partner for many years now when it comes to working out. He and I both have struggled with our weight over the years, and at various points in our lives have been each other's accountability partners. And at one point, we're doing a really good job of keeping each other, on our workout routine. Jamal much more faithfully than I, and but he's training for a half marathon.
Half marathon.
And I'm
keyword being half.
Right. Well, and I'm training for a 5K, but as we probably mentioned on this show last week, I'm failing at training. So much so I'm failing. Let's just be honest, I'm failing. So much so Jamal yesterday, being the good accountability buddy and friend, sent me multiple texts yesterday, called me and was like, hey, did you run today? Not even saying did you run today, just literally sending me a screenshot of like a meme with the date of my 5K run.
The happy Black couple just sitting up there like, your 5K is coming. Hey.
And y'all, even though I knew my friend was doing exactly what I told him to do, I was so hot. He texted me yesterday so much so I like unloaded on him, unloaded on Nicole. So I had to have a mea culpa, y'all, and apologize to my people. I just want to say, when you're an adult and you're wrong on stuff, y'all apologize. Just apologize. Yeah.
Well, even
go ahead, you about to jump in.
Well, no, I was thinking about like with my students. When I used to train teachers and talking to students, I saw a teacher in a classroom basically get something wrong. The student was like looking at him and the teacher was like, I'm still right. And I said, you don't understand how much accountability you gain just being like, I was wrong,
Acknowledge
They acknowledge it. You're wrong.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. So and one thing too is if we're each other's people, my thing is, just like with my siblings, my parents, sometimes you get on each other's nerves and sometimes you blow up at each other, get out of pocket. But my thing is, how do you move forward? Do you do you acknowledge when you mess up and move forward? So
I just choose to be passive aggressive and violent.
You choose to be passive aggressive, but you generally don't care. You're more of a, I'm gonna find the joke in this, and and that makes me mad. So like, stop making a joke.
Well, the problem, here's the thing that like I keep telling people over and over again, and some people don't believe me. You do believe me. Mm-hmm. I'm a world-class asshole. I am. Like my asshole game, and I take it as a total 100% compliment. So it's like, whatever. That's okay.
So I just want to say for the record, for the benefit of our audience, Jamal, Nicole, and everybody in this house, that I am working out as soon as this show is over so I can get my run done for the day and then I can get back to work. All right.
All I want to do is I'm just going to clip this. Lee, could you clip this portion of the apology and just send it to me so on a daily basis I'm like, you apologize.
Oh, God. Listen, I opened up the show and I apologize. You ain't getting nothing else.
I know, right? That's it. I don't get apologize for another 5 years.
Oh my God. So what else is going on, sir?
Should we go? Let's go big first. Okay, so let me warn the audience. Mm-hmm. I'm not in a good place right now because the end of democracy is coming. It's coming so fast. For people who
2 days away.
Yeah, right. So people have been living under a rock. The final push for the midterm elections. I'm looking at CNN. Nobody should ever look at CNN. Sorry, but the midterm elections are coming, and I've been talking to friends this week, and I got a lot of my liberal friends. I've been telling them what I really think the truth is that I think we're going to get our asses kicked. I don't think it's going to be close.
Based on early voting results, polls right now, that's exactly what's about to happen. Unless folks really show up next week, in a couple of days from now.
Yeah. And the thing that, so if you're like a lot of my friends or family, you're like, well, what makes this different than any other time? Well, this is the first time that there are over 300 candidates who 100% believe in the big lie that there's election fraud and that Trump is the rightful president and that Biden cheated. 300 people who are on the record saying and campaigning that the election was a lie, which is, for anybody in American history, this is a new phenomenon. I mean, you can go back to McCarthyism in the 1950s, but even that wasn't based on elections that were actually happening, midterm elections. Right. So it's an issue if we lose, and even if we don't lose, I say we as the Democrats, because I'm a Democrat, unfortunately. Even if we don't lose, even if we don't lose, you still have these people who don't believe. They won't say that they lost. These people come up in there and they'll just do the Trump and be like, yo, I still won, no matter what the votes say, which is, I mean, as much as you can shit on a Ronald Reagan, a Richard Nixon, when they lost an election, they lost an election.
Yeah.
So
this new breed is chaotic. They don't believe the truth. Like the truth is irrelevant to them.
Well, truth is like, I was listening to a podcast this week. Man, I'm showing all my liberalism. I was listening to the daily podcast on the New York Times. Yes. That's what I listen to. And they're talking to voters, Republican voters. And I may have mentioned this before, but I got to repeat it. They're talking to this lady. She is super conservative, super liberal. She said her number one issue was abortion. And she's going in on Democrats. So the Stead Herndon, who's the correspondent, says, well, what do you think about your boy in Atlanta? What do you think about the dumb running back, Herschel Walker?
Herschel Walker.
Yeah. And she says, oh, you had to bring that up. You had to bring that up. And he's like,
you said you care about abortion, man.
And he said, what do you mean? She said, I also believe in forgiveness. And he made mistakes. I'm like, oh my, this man is giving out abortions.
The forgiveness extends to Republicans, but to no one else.
Well, I mean, he's giving out abortions like it's, cotton candy at the fair. He just like, here you go. Dude. So my thing is, that point is just to make, there's no common sense to it.
No.
There's no argument that can be made for it. There's no logic that can be put to it.
Right.
Is their belief, and it's just the way they're going to go, So
it's really frustrating.
I'm sorry, I just did a long monologue. Your thoughts?
No. I went to go for early vote on Friday. So today is November 6th, Sunday, November 6th when we're recording this. So the official election day is November 8th. So we're a couple of days away from that. But we all did early voting, and I did mine on Friday. Walked in, took me literally less than 5 minutes. It was raining outside. There was, but when I went in, I was both one, of course, I was like, oh, there's not a big line. I'm going to be able to get in, come right back home. But then I was like, there's not a big line.
Right.
Like, why? I needed to at least stand in line for 5 minutes. Like, so I don't know. And you just mentioned Democrats. Like, I'm not technically a Democrat. I've been a registered independent since I was 18 years old, but I pretty much always vote Democrat.
Right.
But I think what I'm most concerned about is honestly not even just the Democrats' lack of showing up, is people splitting the vote if they do show up. Like, this is the whole, previous presidential election again. I really don't like Hillary, so I'm just going to throw my vote to the wind. And I feel like we're going to be in another one of those circumstances and situations. So I hate to be pessimistic. I'm a glass half full type of person, but I kind of share your concerns. Especially coming off of Roe v. Wade, I was like, the fact that people aren't knocking down the doors to get in there and to vote early, maybe we'll be surprised on Tuesday. Maybe folks will show up, but just based on.
I so hope we're wrong. I hope but this, and the thing is, this is one of those, I'm not saying we can't come back, but I'm kind of saying this is
we may not be able to come back from this games.
Right. Hey, we are winning today, by the way.
Okay. Who are y'all playing today?
We're playing Green Bay, and they're
you know what? I'm gonna put my energy with y'all today. If they play in Green Bay, I'll support y'all today.
4-game losing streak at Green Bay, so we gotta.
I'm on Detroit's side for 3 hours today.
All right, I got one more.
What you got?
So let's keep it in a sadness. Let's stay in the evil sadness. Let's make people want to turn off the podcast. No, don't turn off. Don't turn off. I'm gonna say something funny later. All right. The New Yorker title of this article is "The Sad Death of Affirmative Action." So, the Supreme Court is going to take up affirmative action in this term. Let me read the headline. The sad death of affirmative action. It's clear that what's at stake isn't a vision of social and racial justice that would eliminate inequalities for a broad swath of people, but rather fight for spots in the elite ranks of society. So for those who don't know, the whole case kind of goes around affirmative action in schools. There's been affirmative action policy at stake in colleges for years now, over 30 years, I believe. And it's been making sure that everybody gets an equal look when you apply for college, so that your college won't be a giant audience of fully white people. Because we all know that whenever you have people apply for things, it's been proven by study, whether it's a home loan, whether it's college, it's always been proven that the whites usually get it because people are biased. They have unconscious biases. They have open biases. So the affirmative action was there to say, hey, your campus has to look like America, right? So you can guess who brought this issue up. You can guess our favorite person on this show who brought the issue up on the Supreme Court, who our Supreme Court.
Oh, it was Clarence Thomas.
Of course.
But here's the irony of him bringing it up.
Please, set it up. Go ahead, go girl. Go for it.
So let's back up a little bit because so the school in question is Harvard, right? So what's interesting is that our Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? Ketanji Brown is a Harvard grad. Mm-hmm. And when she was going through her confirmation hearing, she said, listen, I, as a Harvard alum, if she knew that they were going to be coming before the Supreme Court, she said, I will recuse myself from speaking on that case, which was also the promise that some of the other justices made about how they wouldn't change precedent. They wouldn't do all these other things. I'm looking at you, Amy Barrett, and what's your other boy's name?
Scalia? Is that the one?
No, the one who came right before Barrett.
The mad one, the one who's angry and drinks a lot.
And the one who was accused of sexually assaulting women, but that's neither here nor there.
Tomato.
You're like, which one? Clarence Thomas? I don't know which court justice was accused.
Which horrible court justice are we talking about? Go ahead.
At any rate, so I just want to acknowledge, first of all, that Ketanji Brown Jackson has recused herself. I just want to start there because none of her colleagues, when it were in similar positions to recuse themselves, did so. So that's number one. Number two, so to your point, Clarence Thomas, a recipient, by the way, of affirmative action himself, was only able to attend
several times
about it throughout the course of his life, about how he would have never been able to get the education he got if he had not, been the recipient of affirmative action. The interesting thing, and I actually read this article, and I'll see if I can link it in the show notes, but there was an interesting article on MSN that where they were kind of drilling down into his beliefs about that. And apparently one of the reasons he claims he believes that or is against affirmative action for everybody else, not for himself, him and Candace Owens, that's how they feel about these situations. But his feeling is that he thinks that affirmative action suggests that Black folks are inferior. So in his mind, if we level the playing field so everybody's getting the same thing, but not getting extra special care and attention, then Black folks will be able to prove that we're just as good as everybody else.
See, I feel like we've done a good job on this show, Kalila, honestly, of explaining systemic racism.
Oh, God.
But I feel like I have to talk about it every week. That systems do not care about individual feelings. Nope. Systems are racist all by themselves.
Yep.
They were built that way and they work that way. That's how you end up with a knee on your neck in the middle of Minnesota. Is not because that cop is necessarily evil, but because the system has told him that is allowed because most likely you will get away with it. So, but yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So all of that to say, so as you teed this up, I was, our audience knows how we feel about Clarence Thomas. We're not here for it.
Fuck Clarence Thomas. But here's the thing. This is something that'll never get approved. Me and my brother were talking about it earlier this week. Term limits.
Oh my God.
Term
Especially
limits
for justices.
Term limits for everybody. For Congress, term limits for everybody needs term limits.
If the president has term limits, why don't all the other people?
Right. I don't get people getting up into their 80s and 90s and still having there's a 5-term, 6-term congressman up this year. And I'm like, bruh, it's time.
I read something somewhere that was like, you know what? Political figures are the only jobs where they're like, hey, an 80-year-old man is perfectly capable of doing that. And no shade to, octogenarians, no shade to y'all at all.
No. Listen,
I'm 40 and I'm losing my memory. So
listen, I love Nancy Pelosi. I love Joe Biden, but quite honestly, no, the age does matter. It does. When you get a certain age, you kind of need to chill back in life. You naturally slow down. It's the way.
Also just about making, I remember years ago, my father, when Thurgood Marshall was still alive, bless his heart. When Thurgood Marshall was still alive, I remember my father saying he needs to retire. And his feeling was he needs to retire so that we can have someone to replace him that we just, you know how this goes. Every time there's a Democratic president, every time there's a Republican president, they replace somebody on the Supreme Court, right?
Right.
And so my dad was saying at that time, you got to think about the future, right? I understand personally, how you want the prestige, how you want, you've earned being in that position. But if you're thinking about what is best for the country in the long run, what's best is to have some people who are younger, fresher, have new ideas to come in and keep things moving forward.
Right.
And that's why we keep finding ourselves in these situations that we find ourselves in, because these folks are older and outdated. No shade, but it is.
So
two
points I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
First, to piggyback on what you're saying, Barack Obama went to go visit Ruth Bader Ginsburg and was like, "Yo,
right,
you need," and yep. I love her to death, and I understood, but at the same time, she should have retired. Yep. But the second thing, and this is something that's a little bit more nuanced. There was a time when you would elect a Supreme Court judge, and you honestly didn't know their politics. So they might end up like the last one might be Justice Roberts, who quite honestly has ended up being the middle of this court.
I was going to say, remember, we were so nervous about him being appointed, and he's turned out to be the least problematic of this.
Because the thing is, he's doing what Supreme Court justices are meant to do.
Yeah.
He's centrist, but he's actually taking things on the merits of the case and not on political circumstances.
Right. Or
so we know that
feelings.
Right, personal feelings. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a crap show.
So should I tee up some more? Or
you're going to depress us some more so I can bring this up.
Okay, so let's get a little weird here. I'm gonna go a little weird.
Okay.
Here's a name from movies past. You remember it was Isaiah Washington? Do you know about this already?
No, I don't know anything that he's done lately. But here's what I say. Before you set this up, I need our audience to understand how disheartening it is to see Isaiah Washington be the version of himself that he is now. When we were in our early 20s and Love Jones came out, when this brother said, "I'm gonna break it down so it can forever and consistently be broke," we were like, "Who is this man? He is amazing." We had so much faith in Isaiah Washington,
dude.
And here we are.
I would tell people, if you Google Isaiah Washington and put Isaiah Washington 90s movies, there are some, like, I would make the argument.
He's a phenomenal actor.
For a while, he was one of the most brilliant young actors out.
Yep.
And then he opened his mouth.
Yep. No, that's exactly what happened.
So he got kicked off of Grey's Anatomy a long time ago. So that's where most people may know him from, Grey's Anatomy fame. That's where he really blew up. I met him on the set of Grey's Anatomy. He is a jerk. It's certified. He's a certified jerk. I was really disheartened because I really looked up to him. But he is an extraordinary actor. So I'm going to read you this headline from Yahoo News that just randomly popped up. So just to let people know, I don't know if everybody else does this. Sometimes I'll Google people from my childhood's past that I really looked up to. Like, even people who are dead. Once a month, I Google George Michael. I do.
Really?
It's something I do. So I just randomly Googled one day.
But it's usually prompted by something. I'll watch something or hear something and it makes me immediately Google, but I don't just randomly go.
It's a little bit of that too. This is a little bit of that. But this one was just a random, like, oh, what's on going on? Watching what? I said, maybe he's getting his life together. Actor Isaiah Washington says Aaliyah, the singer, wasn't a victim when she met R. Kelly at 12 years old. She was in control. Now pause. Before we get how ridiculous the headline is, I want to just show you how lost Isaiah Washington is. This is while he's promoting his first directorial debut movie. Okay, so we're not going to talk about how ridiculous the statement is. Even if it must be like that, like, you're promoting a movie that you're directing. We're trying to forget that you're a giant asshole, and then you say something just totally
certifiable. There's so many things to pick apart here. Let me back up to what I didn't say too when I was setting that up for you was, so he was on, I don't think you've had a chance to watch P-Valley, but he was on the first couple seasons of P-Valley.
Oh, really? And, okay.
And honestly, I'm not going to lie. When I first saw him come on the scene, I was like, I ain't finna watch this. I'm really finna watch this. I felt some kind of way that they cast him, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna push through because this is a black show. I'm gonna support this black show.
And he's a good actor, man. He's a phenomenal actor.
That's not even a question, but he is a jerk and he is awful. I read the article that you just mentioned, and it did say that, and he even went so far as to essentially say, basically he called her, you know how the old folks, like, she fast and she knew what she was doing, and it's like, oh my God, think about this. Your daughter is the same age as what he was, as Aaliyah was at that time when he's talking about when she was 12, when she first met him. Your daughter's 12. Can you imagine the idea that India would be like manipulative and scheming? And I'm like, are you serious?
I'm gonna say something that only you and a few other people know. I knew Aaliyah when she was like 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
I was like a year or two older than her.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say a
So
few
she went
things.
to Cass Tech, right?
Yeah, she her brother went to Cass Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And I met her once. She was really cool. Let me just say, I'm gonna say two things that go together. Number one, she's one of the finest human beings I've ever seen in person. That's number one. Oh, I got to add another thing. Number two, she's one of the sweetest human beings I've ever met in person.
I have heard that.
Number three, me and my boys who were in that room immediately treated her like she was a little girl, even though we were only 2 years older than her, even
because
though she
had
was
the
fine.
appearance of,
Well, just because I, as a 16-year-old, had the common sense to not shoot my shot at a 14-year-old.
To know she was a child. She was way too young for you.
So it just blows my mind to be like, yo, we all thought like, man, she's fine. She left. Yeah, but she's a little girl. It's fine. Why?
When I hear stuff like this, it immediately makes me think about the little girls in these people's lives, right? Like, this is why, those uncles, cousins, not that it's just men who do it, but that's why it's so hard and to deal with problematic people in our families, because you got people like Isaiah Washington who are just like, oh, she's crazy shit. She grown. Exactly.
Okay, but I have to add one little cherry on top to this.
Okay.
So this movie, which I think is a Western, I'm not going to see this movie.
Yeah, we're not plugging it.
I want you to take a guess who the leading actress in the movie is. It's totally on brand for his type of politics.
Stacey Dash?
Stacey Dash.
Get out of here.
Is the lead in this movie with him. And by the way, Stacey Dash is probably just now finding out that Aaliyah died. So we know news.
So you got Stacey Dash. Did Kanye write the soundtrack? You may as well throw them all together.
Kyrie Irving is in.
Oh my god! You know we're gonna get into that this week.
I'm about to get into it. Hold on, it's on the list. Let's go.
Look, well, go ahead. You got it. Look, you driving this bus this week.
Okay, wait. Let's get to so Kyrie Irving.
Everybody, wait. Before we go any further, everybody take a deep breath. Okay, we'll
So I'm going to go off the head a little bit here. I got an article, but it's kind of around this because the article is kind of a result of what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving has started put on Twitter this horrible book and now a documentary movie that basically has a whole bunch of stereotypes about, the Jewish community. Mm-hmm. It's one of these, and I if I offend you, you don't need to listen to podcasts anyway. It's one of these, I really want to be deep black, like totally woke. I am Hotep, 3%ers, the dude to sell the weed, but really like, yo, deep in your head. It's one of these dudes, and that's what Kyrie fashions himself as.
Conspiracy theorist.
So he put this out and promoted it, and he's been getting shit all week about it, right? And Kyrie Irving, so here's the article. Nets want Kyrie Irving to verbally apologize, complete sensitivity training, meet with local Jewish leaders before he's allowed to return. He's basically given a to-do list.
Well, and he did apologize. Like, see, this is what's interesting. Initially, he refused, right? He kind of held his ground, but then a few days later, he's like, he issued a statement.
Well, it's the same thing that always happens with that one person who shall not be named. And everybody, once the money starts to go away, wait.
I feel differently now. I had a chance to reflect. You look at your bank account was like,
you better reflect a lot. So it's a bunch of things here. Number one, I've been getting into these weird arguments with people who are talking about like, it seems like when you say something about the Jewish community, all of a sudden your money disappears, stuff like that. And to me, that's neither here nor there.
It's neither here nor there.
Well, wrong. First of all, wrong is wrong no matter what. Wrong is wrong. So I'm like, are you saying the dude's statements are right? Are you saying that this is a founded documentary? You're not. Then shut the fuck up. Who cares?
Yeah.
We cannot control. You cannot control the punishment that is put upon you. When you do something stupid. He did something stupid. He's now apologizing for it, but this ain't over. He still might end up losing his gig over this.
I heard this. Yeah.
So thoughts as I rambled.
Well, no, I want to take your thought a bit further when you were talking about this idea of whether or not you agree that he's being punished correctly or whatever. Some of the other commentary I've been hearing a lot, honestly, from our community is well, why wasn't anybody upset when he was saying anti-Black stuff? He who shall not be named.
We
and
was.
here's the thing: a lot of us were. You may not have been upset, but a lot of us were. A lot of us have not been dealing and fooling with he who shall not be named for a long time.
Right.
But this narrative that these people are being evil and they're taking their money and they're proving the point. No, what they're showing is, oh, you're gonna discriminate against my people. I'm gonna boycott you. We have that same buying power, but we didn't, as a community, collectively decide that we were going to push back against his anti-Black rhetoric. I had already given up on him, but the minute he said that slavery was a choice, I'm done. My ancestors won't allow me to even think about the possibility of listening to his music and supporting him. So this idea that people are still rocking with him and using what's been happening in terms of like the pushback from the Jewish community as proof that he was right. No, it's not proof that he's right. It's proof that when people, this particular group of people, when they feel offended, they know how to defend themselves. Yeah. That's on us. That's totally on us.
So here's another thing I want to talk about with this is knowing how smart or dumb you are. Because like, listen. I'm not gonna diss Kyrie's intellect. I am a little bit. My thing is like, Kyrie, there's a basketball player named Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's one of my favorite basketball players. He plays for the Celtics, unfortunately. But he's one of my favorite basketball players because brother graduated from Harvard. Brilliant young man, social leader. He's a leader around Black Lives Matter. And he only comes forward and speaks only when it's required, when it's necessary, and it's never about showing how smart I am. Because he's a real brilliant person.
Right.
As opposed to the I'm Hotep dudes, who like, you know, they have to make it seem like I'm deep and I'm so deep and bruh, you're so deep that you're surface, you know? It's like, you're so deep. It's come back on the other end. And he who shall not be named is also this, you know, so deep that they come back out the end and lose all their money and be like, oh, I wasn't quite.
Right.
Was I? So yeah.
Free thinking ain't always free.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I got one more, and this is gonna be surprising.
What you got?
Okay. A surprising take here.
I was like, look, you driving the whole show. I don't even do nothing.
All right, so Drake's new album came out.
I want you to know. You go ahead and say what you got to say.
So Drake's new album came out, and for those who know me know that this is no cause for any type of anything. That's like, oh, Drake's new album came out. That's well, whatever. So Drake puts out random disses on his album. And one of those people he dissed was Meg Thee Stallion. So I'll say Serena Williams' husband because I cannot say this boy's last name.
Why are you all in my notes, man?
Alexis Ohanian? I've never known this dude's last name.
I know, me too.
So Drake, on one of Drake's songs called Circo Loco, he seems to imply that Meg Thee Stallion's allegations that she was shot by Tory Lanez was false. In 2020, Meg Thee Stallion stated that she was shot by Tory Lanez, who's been charged with felony assault with a firearm and pleaded not guilty. The lyric was, this B about to lie about getting shots, but she's still a stallion. It's a quick line. I listened to the song. What do you think about this? What do you think about Drake shooting shots out?
You know what's funny? This was on my list to talk about. And literally the way I wrote it in my notes was, you're right, Jamal. Drake sucks. I was like, I can finally come to the official, you know, I've always been kind of like, I'm officially on board with Drake sucking, Jamal. For a number of reasons. I mean, we already talked about his problematic grooming of young people. I'm looking at Millie Bobby Brown, reaching out to her as a teenager to be friends. So there's already that. His claims to be a feminist, and yet someone actually broke this down. It was like, he claims to be a feminist, and yet he's had features by like 39 men in the last, like he's featured 39 other men in the last 5 years. He's only had 2 women rappers featured in the last 5 years. Right. He's making comments about, like, literally, you mentioned his comment about Serena's husband. I'm going to go a step further. Specifically, what he said was he's a groupie. Now, let's just give some context for this, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Drake used to date Serena. Hater. Okay. He used to date her. He didn't. Somebody else, you know, made her a wife. And here's the thing that's crazy. What is so wrong about a man being proud and excited to be in the stands to support his woman? And what was great though was his response. Alexis's response was, "I'm definitely her groupie."
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't he be?
Can I also say that I'm Serena's groupie as well?
Drake at one point was Serena's groupie, and apparently still is, even though he's married.
Common was a groupie.
My point is, this woman has been married. That woman's child is like 2 or 3 years, so she's been married for a minute,
right?
And yet you still feel the need to weigh in on her marriage. Like, he's so. You're right. He's whack. He's awful. I'm done.
Okay, so people who are watching on video, I've shared screen just so we can show.
You're so fancy.
Look at Drake's face. There's nothing.
And that's one of the nicer photos from recent. Because I saw one that was awful. He looks terrible.
For me, it just screams soft rapper. Like, it is. This is not the face of a rapper. This is the face of an R&B star.
And I think that's the thing that's so frustrating. It's like, we've given you a pass on your. I'm not gonna say what I was about to say. We give you a pass on your soft lyrics, and here you go cutting up. So no, Aubrey, we about to call you out.
This picture makes Chico DeBarge look hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for those who don't know, Google Chico DeBarge. All right, Chico DeBarge is a.
Chico DeBarge probably is harder than him.
Chico. I'm thinking about El DeBarge. Chico DeBarge is the real hard one. He's the one who went to jail. Okay, so I'm gonna take an interesting take on this though, because there's one thing I agree with every single thing you said.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Meg's response should have been I have no problem with Drake taking shots. I have no problem with him making those lyrics, because back in my day of hip hop and our day of hip hop, when those lyrics would come out, oh, you about to get it, son. Somebody's about to come back to you on wax, and Meg Thee Stallion actually has the verbal skill to come back.
Right.
So I was a little disappointed. I understand Meg. I understand it's a sensitive subject and everything. She did get shot. It was assault. It's horrible. But what I thought would have been more impressive and would have made Drake look worse is if you do what Pusha T did and just go full, I said this last week, LL Cool J on Cannabis.
Ether.
And Nas on Jay-Z, go Eminem on everybody on earth, because Eminem does that.
I hear you, but I think you hit the nail on the head, which is, this is a very personal thing and traumatic thing that happened to her. So It's not like just dissing somebody because they got, y'all were interested in the same woman. This is literally you. And here's the other thing, is that so many male rappers have rallied behind the man who is accused of assaulting her or, shooting her, when before he was getting no play, he was getting no airtime, and now all of a sudden he's become the man from this assault.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's crummy.
Yeah, and Drake is just, oh God.
Well, I'm officially on the bandwagon, sir.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Stop listening to Drake, y'all. Just listen to some regular R&B music. That's what
he
said
some regular R&B. Well, you took my story about Drake sucking, but I do want to bring up, I guess we are truly the bad news bears right now, because I do have some bad news to share with our audience who probably know this by now. Tiffany Cross, our sister Tiffany Cross and the Cross Connection. Her show was canceled this week by MSNBC, in spite of the fact that the show is the highest rated weekend program and the best performing show in a key demographic, 25 to 54. Some insiders have suggested that essentially she went on another program and she addressed some comments that were made by some right-wing political figures and journalists. And so the inside scoop is apparently supposedly that basically MSNBC is like, you need to shut your mouth.
Yeah.
And so of course Black folks are pissed. Because Tiffany talks the way we all talk about politics, about what's happening in pop culture, what have you. And so what we thought was 2 years ago, of course, we had our racial reckoning 2 years ago when she got this show, was that MSNBC claimed that they were ready to have these difficult conversations, but clearly they weren't. And the fact that they canceled her literally less than a week before midterm elections is just like.
So let me just, I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna go for our one conservative listener. This may go against it, but MSNBC's trash. They've been trash for a while now.
Yeah.
After they got rid of Melissa Harris Perry, what you call now Nicole Cross, excuse me, but not what's her name?
Tiffany Cross.
Tiffany Cross. And what's the name of my girl who used to be,
and was Maddow on MSNBC? I know she left.
She's still there. She does once a week.
Right.
There's another African American lady. I cannot think of her name.
No, Joyanne.
No, she was Prince's friend. She got taken off the show.
Angela Reed.
No,
Angela
another
Rye.
one. No, short hair, little black. Okay, she's Princess. Her and Prince are really good friends. And
Oh, Tamron Hall.
Tamron Hall got taken off
Mhm.
MSC and NBC.
And
Yeah, so
NBC.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm done on MSNBC in
Yeah, I
general.
think I'm
And
good.
their programming it's first of all, I hate when idiots be like, well, it's just like Fox News. First of all, no, it's not.
No, it's not that bad.
It isn't. Fox News is Fox News. There's no facts there. Like
Mhm.
it's 70% not facts.
Yeah.
But MSNBC, like they used to at least try to have a conversation that wasn't
Mhm.
just, Trump sucks. Trump sucks. Yes, we all believe Trump sucks. We get it.
Right.
How do we move this forward? What
Right.
else? What else
Right.
can you give us other than Trump sucks is good programming? That's why people watch, because we say Trump sucks a lot.
Right.
So it's not smart TV. Stop watching it. Watch NPR. Watch
Yeah,
BBC.
I was just about to say I primarily get my news from NPR and like BBC.
Yeah.
Like those
Right.
are and even like the Guardian, like which
Right.
is sad. 2 of the 3 of those are not based in the US, but it's like that's the only way to get seemingly less. What are you trying to say? Less
Get some moderation.
slanted. Thank you.
Yeah. But
Brain
so
froze on me.
you brought this up for a minute, and I guess it'd be my last thing. I was listening to my number one habit that I need to kick. I've been trying to kick it. I listen to Bill Maher still.
Can I kick it?
Yes,
yeah,
you
need
can.
to kick that habit.
Well, the thing is, Bill Maher is one of the few places where they actually have. I love that it's real discussion as opposed to
That's
like
true.
straight right left. And
Right,
sometimes he says things that I think are asinine. Sometimes I think he says things that are on point. But he was making a point that I actually agreed with this week, because everybody's up in arms over Twitter. Elon Musk. Yes, Elon Musk is at the very least an unstable individual, it seems. But he was making the point about why don't we say as much about TikTok? Because TikTok has blown up. Like TikTok is the number one app by far right now, and everybody's on it. Kids, adults, everybody's on it right now. And it is this is an old story, but it's owned by China. It's owned by the communist country China, and they have all of our information. And the platform that they're saying that Twitter is right now, you see chinks in the armor of TikTok slowly becoming that. The deep wormholes, and they did a whole deep dive on a BBC 2 weeks ago about how bots are coming on to TikTok, how the same messed up news is coming. But this time it's coming from a direct competitor. If we're already upset about Russia and Facebook, right? Why aren't we upset about TikTok and the impending doom of
because
China?
we don't know yet. Because
Yeah.
you just hit the nail on the head. You heard that where?
Yeah, right.
So it hasn't filtered down to our news sources yet. So that's part of the issue. It's interesting you brought up, because that was one of the topics I had, which was we probably should save this for the bonus content, because now we're going over a little bit.
We're going over, my bad.
Yeah. You know
what?
I'll bring this. We'll take this to the bonus content, but I do want to take that thought a little bit further around the Twitter and what's happening with that. So, but before we do that, you have a For the Culture?
For the culture. For the culture. For the culture. For the culture. For the culture.
I have one if you don't.
I think ours might be the same, but
probably.
Okay. You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So my For the Culture is a record. Last week we made suggestions around. It's getting close to the holidays, y'all. So I'm feeling very sentimental and thinking about my family and all the little people in my life. So Netflix has this new animated film called Wendell and Wild. It is a film that features the voices of Keegan-Michael Key, Jordan Peele, Angela Bassett, and Ving Rhames, among others. And it's actually directed by the director of Coraline and The Nightmare Before Christmas. So if you're familiar with those and you enjoy the animation style in theirs, you will probably enjoy this particular show. The description of it is 2 scheming demons strike a deal with a punk rock loving teen so they can leave the underworld and live out their dreams in the land of the living. Now, I'm sure that sounds very dark.
Yes, I love it already. I'm like, yes, let's go.
I was gonna say the trailers are amazing and excellent, and we'll put those in the show notes. But I would say if you have access to Netflix and you have young people in your lives, and it looked really appealing to me. So I would say if you liked Nightmare Before Christmas, this might be up your alley. So go check out Wendell and Wild on Netflix. And then Jamal, what's your For the Culture?
Well, I think my For the Culture is the obvious one. I've been telling people. I've been telling white people all week. Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, Thursday and that whole weekend is a Black holiday.
Oh,
It is Wakanda Forever, ladies and gentlemen.
Starting on Thursday.
Yo, so real talk. I've already taken off work on
Mhm.
Thursday. I'm going to do a little bit of personal work in the morning, and then I already got my outfit. I got my Wakanda outfit.
I gotta get
already
my
ready.
outfit.
So I would say my people, if you ain't bought your Wakanda tickets yet, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's gonna be it might end up being a real live funeral. I expect to cry. I expect to laugh. I expect to be excited. I cannot wait for it. So everybody, go get your tickets. Go see. Go say
Yeah.
goodbye to our brother Chadwick, because that's what I feel like it's gonna
Absolutely.
be. Go see goodbye to
Yeah,
our Chadwick.
absolutely. You know what? I'm glad that wasn't on my list. What's
Yep.
interesting is I had another for the culture that was connected to Black Panther, but it wasn't actually the movie. So we can talk about it in the bonus content. So, well, folks, thank y'all for joining us today. We actually talked for a bit here today, Jamal. Most of it was me rambling in the beginning. So
I just had to get it off my chest. I had a lot to say.
Exactly. Well, folks, you can continue to watch the show on YouTube. You can see the full, not only the audio portion of the show, but you can see the bonus content where Jamal and I keep going a little bit after the show and kind of relax a little bit, and you can see behind the scenes bloopers. That's because they definitely happen once we get off of here. But you can find us on YouTube at Cheap Disruptor Productions. You can, of course, always find us on Instagram and Facebook, no longer on Twitter, at Cheap Disruptor Productions. And so, yeah, if you also, I want to remind you all, you can message us on Instagram or on Facebook if you have a viewer topic. If there's something that's like, burning on your chest and you want us to talk about it, send us a note and we'll bring it up on the show. So,
hey, yo, we take complaints and all that. Yo, come say what you didn't like. I'll argue with you.
Yeah.
Kay won't argue with you. I'll argue with you.
No, not most of the time.
Yep.
I give you 2 rounds and I'm like, yeah, I just agree to disagree. Well, all right, Jamal, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye to the people.
Thank y'all for coming out and listening to us. If you are sticking around for the bonus content, we'll get there in a second. But if this is where we leave you with the audio version, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Peace
y'all. Out, y'all. All right, moving into the bonus content. So coming back to Twitter.
Let's
think about Twitter. Huh?
Say Twitter again. You said Twitter.
I'm very Southern. It's so funny. When I went to New York, I was catching up with some old friends and colleagues, and they were like, girl, Texas is getting you. I was like, y'all, I got back to the South and my tongue was like, I'm done. My tongue was like, I've been working hard for 30 years. I'm done. So
relax.
My Southern accent has definitely been kicking up. But no, so it's interesting when you're talking about Twitter, I'm in the world of marketing. So I'm always looking at ad plans and doing media buys for clients. And what's interesting is a lot of major advertisers, L'Oreal, GM, they've pulled their ads from Twitter, which isn't surprising because most of the top advertising firms are encouraging them to cease and desist, having their, what's interesting is some years ago when I was working at Disney, there was rampant sexual videos and graphic videos that were targeting young people. And so we had to make decisions about where we were going to place our ads. Like, could we continue to run them on certain channels on YouTube? And we did end up having to pull them for quite an extended period of time because we could not control where our ads would end up. Like, it might end up on a porn video, you know what I mean? So that is very common for advertising firms to kind of assess the risk for their clients and to say it's not worth it. So they've been looking at what's been happening at Twitter over since Elon Musk was, took over, and they're like, it's chaotic, it's problematic. And so most advertising firms are encouraging their big clients to pull their ads for the time being, which it's definitely what I would do.
Well, it's surprising to me with Elon Musk that and we see this all the time. Somebody can be so smart in one area and so dumb in another area. It's like, first of all, you can't basically advertise your business as being a place that's going to be an unstable market. That's basically what you said. Like, we're going to make this the wild west.
That's exactly what he said.
And you got all these conservative companies, and I'm not saying conservative politically. Conservative is like, we want our places in a safe place where it's going to hit an audience that we want and not get canceled or anything. They're all like, why would Ford stay on there?
Any mainstream business or company, if it were me, if they were my client, I would have immediately told. I mean, you saw what we did. As soon as I saw it, I was like, we're done.
My thing is like, you don't have to say it.
You don't have to say
he could have took the guardrails down and let it happen naturally.
Just let it happen. Yeah.
But because ego is like, yo, I'm ripping this apart.
Right.
Now it's like all the business is like,
He's laid off all these people. In fact, did you know they laid off the entire human rights team? So yeah, laid off the entire human rights team. And for to give people some context of what that even means, there are teams.
I'm just saying, there's never been a time when the term "laid off the human rights team" is ever
Which is a good thing, right? You're right. But for context, the human rights team at Twitter was responsible basically for making sure that, you know, the social media presence for journalists, those who are defending human rights in places like Afghanistan, Ukraine, Ethiopia, et cetera, that they could actually utilize the platform to get the message out, because these are countries where a lot of time they are being able to share the happenings in real time. They're prohibited from doing that. So Twitter allowed a platform for that when they had a human rights team.
I'm still sticking in my head. Like, I'm thinking of places like, if you said we got rid of them, that'd be bad. Like, you go to McDonald's, we got rid of all the gloves. Like, you go to the doctor,
no hamburgers. We have no hamburgers.
We go to the doctor's, like, we got rid of all the thermometers. Like, it's like this. That doesn't help anybody. Why would you?
And apparently, he laid off all of most of the engineers and brought in Tesla engineers, and was basically like, it's the same coding.
The Tesla engineer is like, this is not the car. I don't know why he has that accent, by the way. This is not the car.
Right. Is that your South African accent?
I don't know what that was. I was like,
Nelson Mandela is not pleased.
I know. Don't cancel me, please. Not yet. I got a little.
Oh God. Yeah.
There's one thing I did mean to say about for the culture, and we're gonna do it right now because we got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I hate Houston Astros in general. I don't like baseball. They cheat anyway. The Houston Astros were known as cheaters years ago. They got it, but they have a new manager. His name was Dusty Baker. His name is Dusty Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty Baker is one of the greatest managers in the history of Major League Baseball, black manager. And he's one of those
with a name like Dusty. He's black.
Oh yeah, Dusty Baker. Yeah, he black. He old school black. He like, you know, I'll beat your ass on the porch black. So Dusty has been around forever. He's been the coach of the Giants. He coached when Barry Bonds was there, and he's never won a World Series ring. So last night, the Houston Astros won a World Series, which I did not care about, but I do care that the great Dusty Baker, this incredible coach, been great for the longest, finally got his World Series ring. That's dope.
Oh, shout out to him.
Shout out to, and my other for the culture is so y'all, I'm not being paid by them, I promise. Salt had released a song.
I'm starting to think you are paid by them, like legit.
Yo, because they keep doing things and weird.
They are pretty dope, though.
So this week they dropped 5 albums, but they did it in a different way. They dropped it as a file. So you had to download the file, open the file. You find 5 albums there, 5 albums of.
And you had to have like the secret password to do it, though, right?
Yeah. So you had to have secret password to do it. It's easy to just go on the Instagram site. This is for the next 7 days, which I think we only got like 3 or 4 days left. I downloaded it, got all these albums. These albums are different genres. There's religious. There's a church album. There's an alternative album. There's an R&B. I
downloaded them, but haven't had a chance to listen to them. So I'm ready. I'm excited.
The music
now.
is very like it is. And I'm not, and it's not all like I don't love every single album, but there's some albums like there's a red one that's amazing, which is like their alternative album. But please, if you get the chance, go ahead, get you, and it's all free. They want to do it outside the streaming platforms, so just go ahead and download you some Salt and get your groove on.
Yeah, I went to their you think you sent me the link. I went to their IG account, and they had where you could go, I think like a link in their bio or something, and get access to it. And like you said, it was really easy, very simple. Right. I was able to download it, and hopefully I'll get a chance to check it out this week. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, can you think anybody else has ever released 5 albums at once? No. That's crazy. Like, what?
No. That's some Beyonce type stuff, but
yeah,
I've never seen that.
Some high level.
Damn. Oh man. Well, sir, we have been here for a minute. I hate to cut us off so long, but I was like, the regular portion of the show went pretty long, so I don't think we should belabor the point here. But go ahead.
I was too excited. Only thing I have left to say is that I'm looking at this picture of Drake still. It's just like, oh.
I kid you not. I literally, the very first note I wrote this morning was, "Tell Jamal you're on board."
Drake. His name is Drake. That's his chosen rap name. His real name is Aubrey, which is Aubrey's not a good name either. Sorry for all the Aubreys.
Drake is harder than Aubrey.
Drake. Ugh, Drake.
Oh God. Well, there's a treadmill calling me, so I'm about to get out of here.
Do it. All right.
Jamal, thank you we'll say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye to the people. You know how the show ends. But take 2. And
no. Thank y'all for coming out. Good night. God bless. I know Russell Stillman is like, wait a minute, that's my catchphrase. on, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye to the people.
Thank y'all for coming out. You can catch the show on YouTube at Chief Disruptor Productions. And of course, you can always follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Chief Disruptor Productions. So we will see y'all next week. Peace out.
Peace out, Lee. You suck. You suck, Lee.
Whatever We Want with J and K is produced by Chief Disruptor Productions, with post-production support by Lee George. To see the video version of this episode of Whatever We Want with exclusive extended content, be sure to subscribe to @Chief Disruptor Productions on YouTube. Stay up to date when we post new content by subscribing to the show on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Pandora, and most podcast streaming platforms. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Chief Disruptor Productions and share your recommendations for viewer topics. See y'all next week. Peace.